اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
Join us for a 30-part series on Ramadan of victory.
The 20th key to victory is being ethical and principled in our trade and transactions, in our financial dealings, in our business dealings, in the fulfillment of our contracts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the 4th surah, verse 29,
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل.
O you who believe, do not consume each other's wealth in wrongful ways. Rather, let it be trade on the basis of clear, defined mutual agreement. This verse lays out a command, a guideline, and a warning. The command to the believers, O you who believe, which is to pay attention, do not consume each other's wealth in wrongful ways. Why? Because when you trade and deal, enter into contracts that are not clear, that are not defined, that are not in line with the limits that Allah out of His mercy has laid out for us, you will inevitably end up wronging one another, consuming each other's wealth in wrongful ways. So learn how to trade and transact within the limits of divine guidance. If you work, if you start a business, if you invest, it is critical for you to know the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has come in the Muwatta fi Imam Malik that Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, he forbade anyone from entering the marketplace in Medina until they had learnt the rules of our religion when it comes to financial transactions. Why? Because he said, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, لا يدخل سوقنا من لم يتفقه في دينها. No one may enter the market of Medina to transact unless they have gained understanding of our deen. Otherwise, they will fall into riba, into usury, whether they want to or not. Allah has laid out limits with transactions. The bare minimum is to stay within those limits. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a clear guide. Let it be through trade on the basis of clear mutual agreement. This tells us that contracts need to be clear, they need to be defined, and the terms need to be set. But also, we do not abuse power relationships in contracts. You may be wealthy and strong, but ensure that the person you're hiring, the one you are entering into transactions with, enters into the transaction willingly. Why? Because we trade and deal with each other on the basis of mutual concern. This also entails having goodwill in transactions. The believer is one who enters into a contract looking for their good, but keeping the good of the other party in mind. The Prophet ﷺ said that the buyer and seller, if they trade while being truthful and of mutual concern for one another, إِذَا صَدَقَا وَنَصَحَا, if they are true to one another, so they're honest in their transaction, and they have sincere concern for the good of the other party. They don't lie, they don't cheat, they don't deceive, they don't give misimpressions, they don't abuse their power in the relationship, then Allah will place barakah, blessing and good and increase in that transaction. And if they don't, they're not truthful, they lie, cheat, or deceive, or they abuse their power. So they have small buyers, they give them less than subsistent wage. What will happen? Allah's blessing and His favor will be wiped out from the transaction. We have to pay attention to trade right, but to trade virtuously. And the Prophet ﷺ gave us the most beautiful of guidance on seeking to be people who have financial independence and strength, but also to have financial concern and excellence in our transactions. Throughout history, Islam spread through traders guided by the light of prophetic teachings. That's how Islam spread through so much of the world. It's not just through traders, but traders guided by the light of prophetic teachings. Trade that was just and virtuous. We should engage in trade, but make it prophetic, virtuous trade. And Allah will place barakah in our wealth as individuals, communities, societies, and as an ummah.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.